Hello, my Teaserking family. Part two. How's everybody today? I hope you have made it. So we came on early because there's a lot of these noon and 1 o'clock baseball games. Let's take a look and see how we've done. And at the Philadelphia game, they took care of business. Good old Tigers. Let's see what else we did. All right. Let's see. Atlanta's going on now. KC. Philly 6-2. Pittsburgh 6-1 against Cincy. We left alone. Kansas City, we have that wins. Houston over 8.5. Or is it under 8.5? No, it's over. So it was 7-1. We lost. Milwaukee against Texas, we didn't play. Pitt and Cincy, we didn't play. Seattle, Tampa, we didn't play. All right. So we're down here. We have Atlanta under 8 at 6-2 in the eighth, so it's a push right now. Oakland 1, California nothing. Don't have. Let's see. We got Washington over 7.5. It's 2-0 in the fourth inning. Baltimore hasn't started. Boston hasn't started. The Yankees haven't started. And Atlanta in the second game over 8. Okay. So right now we're 1-1. We hit Philadelphia, Houston over 8.5, put the scores on 8. We hit KC. Atlanta under is a push at this point. So if we go to the night games, we got Washington over 7.5 against San Diego. We got Baltimore. We got Boston over 9.5. Is that it? Boston over 9.5. We got the Yankees and Atlanta over 8.5 in game 2 of the doubleheader. And we let go of the Cubs and the Niners. Minnesota, Arizona, don't like it. LA against the White Sox. Could be an under, but we didn't play it. All right, so we hit the Philly again, the big play, and again the Philadelphia gets the W for you. So let's look at the box score of the Philly game. Something I like to make fun of with the Tigers, as they don't have any 300 hitters. Philly's got 3 of them. All right, 6-2. It's 1-1 after 1, and then 3-1 after 4, 5-1 after 5, 6-1. And the Tigers are always good for scoring this ninth inning run like it means something, right? They can't even lose a game properly. All right. I mean, it's just like cleanup. It's like the pitcher. It's like the quarterback who they're down 35, throws a 10-yard touchdown pass to lose by 28 to kill the spread or the total, but it's meaningless. And where was he the rest of the game? So he's a lot like Jared Goff. All right. So let's look at this. Carl Schwarber hits 250. Trey Turner, 329. Bryce Harper, 305. Baum, 304. Castellanos, 223. Used to play on the Tigers. Stott, second baseman, 242. Marsh goes 4 for 4, 269. Dahl, 250. And the catcher Stubbs is 202. So they get 12 hits, 6 runs on 12 hits. Tigers got 2 runs on 4 hits against a nobody pitcher, a pitcher who used to pitch on Detroit. Let's look at the Tigers lineup. Verling, 254. Colt Keith, whopping 240. Ibanez. See, I don't understand that. Ibanez is hitting 291. Why isn't he playing? Colt Keith can't play defense, and he can't hit. Ricky Green, 0 for 2, gets his walk in. I love this guy. He walks. As you get 4 hits, he's walking. He's looking for walks. 259. Canna, 236. Perez, 263. Malloy, 148. Another rookie. Why isn't he in AAA getting his at bats? What is he possibly doing in the majors hitting 148? Badu, another guy, hitting a whopping 122. Chip Kelly hitting 242. He got hot. And then the shortstop, Kreidler, 167. And this McKinstry pinch hit. So your 167 hitter gets a single and he goes 0 for 1 with a walk. And then your pinch hitting shortstop, you have a 195 pinch hitter. Seems like a really good strategy. You got a whole 4 hits. What the hell are you doing? What are you doing with Malloy, Badu, Kreidler, and McKinstry on the team? All 4 of them, none of them are hitting 200. What is that? Then your best hitter is a 263 hitter. You got a Ibanez who's not even playing. He's pinch hitting at 291. Your cleanup hitter's hitting 236. Your leadoff hitter's 254. All right, maybe he can hit. So you got a 254 hitter, a 291 hitter, and a 259 hitter, and a 260. So you got 4 hitters on your team, and you've got 4 guys hitting under 200. This is a major league team. Okay, so let's see. Scott Turnbull used to pitch for Philly. For Detroit, goes a whopping 3 innings. What the fuck is this? 36 pitches, so maybe he got hurt. How do you go 3 innings, gives up 1 hit, 1 run, 2 walks, 265 ERA. Soto comes in with this. He's got a real good fastball, 3.91 ERA. Ruiz, 332. Hank Stram, 0.86. Keckering, 157. Hoffman, 108. That is a lot of 1-inning relievers. And then Alvarado, 327. What is this? So your guy goes 3 innings, but probably gets hurt. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys pitch 1 inning each. And most of their ER, the biggest ER they had was a 3.91. But then they go through in the middle. So you start with a 265 pitcher, and then you go 0.86, 157, 108, and you end with a 327. Your starting pitcher goes 3 innings, gives up 1 run. But you see, it's worse than that because it's for 3 innings. So you got to multiply by 3. So ZRA is like a 3.0, not a 1, because this is only for 3 innings. ERA is for 9. Let's look at the Tigers. Willie Horton started 4.10 ERA, gives up 4 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run. Vest goes 3.27, goes 1-1, 1 1/10, and gives up nothing. Why did you pull him? Montero comes in. What is this? So Montero comes in with a 9.35 ERA. What is he doing on the team? In 4 innings, why is he pitching 4 innings? He gives up 5 runs and 5 hits. What is this? 6 strike. Oh, but he had 6 strikeouts. Yeah, but 6 strikeouts, 5 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, in a 9.35 ERA. Why is he on the team? And then our last is this Wentz guy, 5.35 ERA. I don't know, what is he doing out there? So really, okay, Horton, you pulled him after an inning and with 29 pitches. I already gave up 4 hits. Maybe you pulled him right because this guy's a garbage pitcher. And then Vest with the 3.27, I disagree with only pitching him 1 1/3. Why are you pulling him? But then why are you leaving this Montero in for 4 innings, giving up 5 runs and 5 hits? And it looks like the third. So the fourth inning, he gives up 2 runs. The fifth inning, he gives up 2 runs. The sixth and the seventh, and then the eighth. So he gives up 5 of their 6 runs. Why is he still in the game? 9.35 ERA, and he's pitching 90, now a whole game, 94 pitches. What are you doing? He's eating up innings as he loses the game. Why would you go to this guy? Why didn't you leave Vest out there for 2 more innings and you'd be 1-1? Instead, you lost the game because you go to a bullpen guy who pitches 4 innings with his 9.35 ERA, the worst pitcher you have, and you're pitching him 4 innings. What a bunch of idiots. This is why the Tiger management sucks. All right, so love to do that. I'm not going to go into each box score. Let's go into Houston, Colorado. Let's see what my man Altuve's doing. Houston wins 7-1. Spaghetti pitched, and he's terrible. He's 4-6 with the 5.6 ERA. Ryan Felter, see, here's the problem. Colorado only scores 1 run on Spencer Spaghetti, who's 4-6 with the 5.68 ERA. You're assuming with the 5.68 ERA, you're going to get more than 4 hits and 1 run. Oh, and by the way, 3 errors. Is this a major league team? Again, I'm struggling to see major league talent. Look at Colorado's batting order: 258, 287, 277, 279, 190. How does your first baseman hit 190? What are you kidding me? 286. Your left fielder's hitting 194. And then your DH is 206. Do you realize the DH is supposed to be a good hitter? So you got 3 guys hitting 190, 194, and 206. Why is this on every team? What are we seeing here? Again, I honestly don't understand it. And it's the weird positions. Your first baseman's normally Boog Powell, who can hit the ball. Your left fielders always, Willie Horton always can hit the ball. And then your DH is supposed to be a hitter who's 206, batting 9th. How does Colorado score all these runs? Now, their best hitter is what? 286, the catcher. All the other catchers suck. This catcher can hit. And then you got 279, 277, 287. So you got 4 hitters on your team. Let's look at Houston. Altuve's up to 303. Very good. Bregman's up to 253. He was at like 200. Alvarez, 288. Diaz, the DH. See, their DH bats 4th and hits 271. Myers, 256. Singleton, 224. Pena, the shortstop, 280. Loper Fidio, the right fielder, 309. And their catcher's hitting 455. Well, I'm sure that's not real, but he gets 7 runs on 11 hits. Colorado 1 run on 4 hits against Spaghetti, who's like a terrible pitcher. So if we look at the pitching, they start with a 6.02 ERA. He goes 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned. Kinley comes in with his 8.8 ERA. Black, 5.24 ERA, and Vodka, 4.32 ERA. I'm not sure that gets me to 8 innings. 2/4, yeah, I got this 2/3 of an inning. They can't even pitch the whole inning. Black, four hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, in 2/3 of an inning. Then we go to Houston. Spaghetti, 5.68 ERA, 7 innings, he pitches a 3-hitter and 10 strikeouts. Okay, so it's confusing. He's got a 5.68 ERA. Doesn't pitch like a 5.68 ERA. Dubin, 5.64 ERA, gives up 1 hit, 1 run on a walk, 1 earned run. And then B. King with a 0 ERA, probably just pitched a few innings. So Spaghetti pitched 89 pitches. I don't know. I would have taken him out in the 7th, but whatever. So you can see Houston starting to play good. Anyway, so we got Cleveland, Baltimore coming up, Toronto, Boston, the Yanks, and the Mets. I like the Yanks because Gill is 9-2 with the 2.77 against Sean Mania 4-3 with the 4.16. So I like the Yankees there. Atlanta game 2 of a doubleheader. This is really a bad scheduling. So the guys get there, 9:30 for the first game, which started at 12. They played it. It's still going on now, right? It's 6-2 in the top of the ninth, Atlanta. Still going on, and it's already 5:13. And then you got 7:15. You got game 2. These guys are going to be exhausted. It's got to be an over in the second game. The Dodgers and the White Sox, Stone and Fetty. It should be a good game. 304 against the 305 pitcher. We will see. The White Sox can't hit. Minnesota, Arizona. Richardson 2-1 with the 3.26 against Ryan Nelson 5-5 with the 5.18. And the Cubbies and the 49ers, Wisniewski 2-4 with the 3.29 against Birdsong. Otis Birdsong, I think he played for the Houston Rockets. 0-0 with an 0-0. You don't know what to do with that. So anyway, Pitt 6-1, KC 5-1, Milwaukee 6-5, Houston 7-1. And I had Houston, I had them over 8.5. So I lose by half. I've been doing that lately, getting half run in these games. I'll go over 8. I go over 8.5, they get 8. I go under 8.5, they get 9. It's really strange. All right. That's that. Gold, I think we talked about. Gold's at 22.98, did nothing. So it had the derivative early at 23.17. It goes down to 22.96, which is about a 22 option drop. And it kind of sneaks back to 23.03, and then doesn't move to 22.98. Silver at 28.77. So as we did before, and I'll just review. So earlier today, we did a thing on free market versus options. With gold being controlled by options, as I just showed you, and free market is eBay. It's what a free market is. When I go to sell a Montana card and somebody buys it, that's free market. There's no tax. There's no. It's free trade. You don't pay for the trade. Well, you pay eBay a little bit, but basically, I'm talking the buyer doesn't have to pay anything. And so, my point was we can get the gold to the free market and get it off of the derivative. It'll be much higher. So we see gold at, let's call it 2,300. And the comment I made was, if gold's 2,300, and then we see the Mantle card at 60,000. And my point is that the Mantle card, and it's a PSA 9, is 60,000. Don't you think gold can hit 60,000? Don't you think there's more demand than a 65 tops Mantle card? Oh, there's great demand for the Mantle card, but my point is there's more demand for the gold. So people are like, how can it go that high? And I go, how can it not go that high? That's my point. In a free market, Mantle goes for 60,000. So I got the card, I'm selling it, and there's buyers who will go 60,000 because it's Mantle, and it's a PSA 9. It's graded, so it says it's a mint condition card. And in the options in the Comex is not free market, and you can see that. As I said, the point was I had all these Montana PSA 9s. If you watched the early one, and they were all 100, 110, 120. These are for 82 PSA 9, a second year. and the PSA 9s were all about $110 to $120 consistently. 10 of them, and they're all there. That's the way a normal market works. There's not much fluctuation in the price. It's pretty stable. But when you look at the Comex, it's 23.20, then 22.99, and then 2300, 22. It's moving all over the place. Well, it's insanity. It doesn't in a free market, it doesn't move very much at all. Once the price is set, it's pretty much set. But in Comex, it's the derivative. So I'm going to sell at 23.20, and then I'll buy it at 22.90. And that's basically what happens. And it's not a real price. It's a bullshit price. So my argument is the gold price is much higher because what they're doing, and the example was if I had 5 of the Mantle cards, but I'm selling 50 of them. I don't have 50 to sell. I only have 5. Well, that's okay if we're playing games. But if there's 5 buyers, right? If I got 5 buyers for the Mantle card, I got to come up with the card. I have to give the card. And then if I don't have any more cards, I can't run the auction because I can't auction something I don't have. So somebody wins the auction and go, I want my card. Well, I don't have it. Okay, negative feedback, and I'm done. This guy's selling cards he doesn't have, which is what should happen in Comex. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to sell 5 ounces of, 50, they're trying to sell 5,000 ounces of gold with 2 ounces of gold. Basically 4% is what they're trying to sell. But as people take delivery, they're running out of gold. And that's what we want with our gold is we want the gold price to go up. We want the derivatives to end. I almost had a good sneeze there. It's like the ball fell off the tee. So the point is, with the free market, if people take the delivery, you can't keep running the same scam. Well, that's what the gold and silver on Comex is. It's really not made for delivery initially. It's just fake to keep the price where they want it because they don't want the gold price to go high and everybody want the gold price and we don't have any gold. See, it all comes down to we don't have any gold in Fort Knox and all the gold in the New York Reserve, Federal Reserve is not ours. So we have no gold. So how do we sell it? How do we, somebody wants their gold, we can't do anything. So we keep the price down. So if they do want it, it's not going to be that expensive. That's why we keep the price down because we don't have any. And that goes back to Bretton Woods and that's what happens. And we started printing money for the war for Vietnam and the social programs. You can't, with the gold standard, you can only print as much money as you have gold. So they should have raised the price on gold, but they didn't. And so they started printing. And then France realized, wait a minute, you printed an extra, $5 million you don't have. We want our gold. And they asked for the gold. And so we're screwed. So then we realize, well, let's get off of gold so we can print more for these wars. And then we'll do Comex to keep the price down. So we're going to price gold whatever we want to, even though we don't have any, which is incredibly stupidity that the rest of the world would not just say, give me my gold and we'll price it. Thank you very much. That's like somebody else making your feeding you without your input. We're going to give you fried chicken. I don't want fried chicken. I don't want fried foods. Yeah, we'll make it for you. Don't worry. And that's the problem. Somebody else doing it for you, and you never want that. So we're off the gold standard, but we want to keep the price down because we don't have any gold. Sounds really efficient. It's right up there. U.S. government at its finest. So Comex is supposed to just be, we'll do a derivative to keep the price down, and that's it. And we're going to keep the price very low. And then people started taking delivery. We don't have any gold, but we're keeping the price down, even though we don't have any. But it's okay. Nobody's asking for it because it's so cheap. It's $100 an ounce. Nobody wants it. But then they start figuring out, wait a minute, I want my gold back. And as they start calling for their gold, they have to come up with it, which they can't because they don't have any. There ain't no gold in Fort Knox that's U.S. It might be gold, but it is not U.S. or the bank next door. And there's the Federal Reserve in New York is not, it's other people's money if you watch Die Hard 3. So you're basically dealing with, we have no gold, so we keep the price down so you don't ask for it. You don't take delivery because it's not worth it. It's cheap. Yeah, come on. It's only $500, $1,000. But now as it gets to 2,300, people are realizing we don't have any gold. People are realizing we're printing the dollar to nothing. They're going, I want out. Give me my gold. And there's a lot of patronizing, getting the gold back. Africa just did that. China or Germany did that. I'm sure China and Russia got all their gold out. And now it's, why is the U.S. pricing gold in this derivative market? And the derivative market is not really made to take, you're not really taking it. So the derivative market is really for just the options. It's the price fixing. It's not really made for delivery, and people are taking delivery. And that's where I get into the mantle card. So I'm selling 5 mantles, but I got 50 auctions. And I'm okay if I only have 5 sellers, but if I get more than 5 sellers, I'm screwed. So I'm going to have to stop running the auction because I don't have the physical. So as people buy the mantle cards, I'm cooked because I don't have any more. And that's what's happening now. As they do these derivatives, people are buying they're taking delivery of the gold, China and India and Russia, and you can't, and then they got to deliver. Well, they're running out of gold to do the auction. You can't do a mantle auction if you don't have the card, and you can't do a derivative auction and Comex if you don't have the gold. That was a rule change. There was a rule of Basel III, which I think is in Switzerland, and they said, no. If you're going to do these auctions, you got to have the gold, even though they only do 4 or 5%, and they leverage hard the other. For some reason, the U.S. wants to keep the price low because we don't have any gold. And if the price gets high, we're screwed. Well, guess what? Here comes BRICS and Russia and China and India and Saudi Arabia. We want a higher gold price. We're going to buy all this gold that you're keeping cheap. So the plan works if nobody buys it. But all these BRICS countries, especially China, Russia, and India, are saying, well, we're going to buy it at these low prices. So you're keeping the price low, and they're buying it all. Well, let's see. So who wins? Those with gold win. Those without gold lose. Who doesn't have the gold? The U.S. So that's what we have. And that was the comparison. So when we look at eBay is the market, right? But because Comex is keeping the price down, the gold on eBay is not a fair price. It's not a real price compared to the mantle card. So when I look at the two, the mantle card at 60,000 is real supply and demand, free market economics. The maple leaf is a bullshit price, 24.09. Because you're not printing extra cards, there's only very few of these PSA 9s that gets a 60,000 value. But because you're diluting it with all these derivatives, this is only 24.09. Does this make sense? You're getting 60,000 for a mantle and 2,400 for a maple leaf. Doesn't make any sense. There's got to be more demand for gold than the mantle card if you would let the price go. And so that's what's blowing up. That's where I get 50, 60,000. And now I'm even at the point where really it's purchasing power, not even price, because the price will collapse because the dollar will go out. What's my gold worth? the purchasing power of gold will go up. The purchasing power of the dollar is already worthless. So that's what you're going to see. So you go and buy a house, and it'll be 2-3 ounces of gold. Like I said, the $60,000 Mantle card will go to zero because there won't be dollars to price it in anymore, and it'll switch to gold. There might be 1 ounce of gold will buy you the Mantle card, and that's how it's going to work. That's how gold comes in. So gold will not be worth 60,000 because there is no dollars, but it'll be, with gold you can purchase a $60,000 Mantle card or an $80,000 Mantle card, whatever it's going to be. The demand for gold will go through the roof when the dollar goes out. So we know the dollar is being printed to death. You now have this petrodollar gone out. All those dollars are coming back. There goes the stock market. Then you have the banks going out. And then here comes gold, and you can't do anything to gold. And all the other countries have gold, and then the U.S. doesn't. So they will raise the value. And why would the U.S. still be able to use Comex to keep the price of gold down? You don't have any. You're not going to control my price, and you're dealing with Russia and China, so they're not going to allow this Comex to keep going. Right now, they don't mind because they're still buying it. So once there's no more gold to be had on Comex, which is getting near the end, there's 5 Mantle left. So as you sell out of the Mantles, you can't do the auction because they're gone. That's where you're at. So that's what we're going to see. Is the gold is like the Mantle card, right? So I can run options as long as I have some gold, but when I run out of gold, I can't do the options. When I run out of Mantle cards, I can't do the auction. I can only do this auction if I have the Mantle card, because the guy who wins it is going to want delivery of the card. He's not going to just say, well, I don't really take delivery. And that's what's going to happen. So what you're going to see is gold being worth much, much more than you ever dreamed of, because the purchasing power of what it will buy is huge. I mean, Christ, a Mantle card, 60,000, and an ounce of gold's 2,400. Really? How does that work? Come on, there's everybody likes Mantle, but everybody likes gold, including the non-Mantle people. So really, that's what I'm trying to. The point I'm making is the purchasing power. Like, you won't probably see $20,000 an ounce gold because the dollar will go out, but you'll be able to buy with your ounce of gold $20,000 worth of stuff. Even more, because when the dollar goes out, they won't know what the price thing's at. So your $60,000 Mantle card here maybe turns into 2 or 3 ounces of gold, and then eventually 1 ounce of gold buys the card. Then maybe a half ounce of gold buys the card. So the card's protected. It'll just turn into priced in gold as opposed to priced in dollars. So that's what really needs to happen. Everything priced in dollars gets priced in gold. But the gold price is much higher because it's being diluted. So when you put in 4% in real gold and physical gold and 96% in paper gold, do you think you have a fair price in gold at 2,300? I don't think so. So therefore, if you did that with Mantle, his card would be worth $2,000, right? But you're doing free market with Mantle and Montana and Jordan. Those are free market amounts, right? That's the whole key to it. And with them being free market, you don't have the derivatives in it. You get a pretty fair price. This is what somebody bought it for, $60,000. The Montana, $125,000. But in the diluted Comex world, which is the only way we're pricing gold and silver, you're getting 96% more. So that would be if you sold 1,000 Mano cards. Well, the price would be lower on 1,000 Mano cards. The problem is you don't have the 1,000 Mano cards. That's what the problem is. So you're trying to sell 1,000 Mano cards and you only have 5. People buy the Mano cards at a cheaper price, and then you run out of Mano cards. You can't do the auction anymore because people want to get the card. Well, we were joking. We only have 5, so we didn't think there'd be that many people to buy them. So therefore, sorry, we don't have any more. And then we can't do the auction because you're going to get negative feedback. This guy's trying to sell a card he doesn't have. So in the Comex, they're doing the derivatives with gold they don't have. And when they take delivery and they don't have it, they're going to get sued, or, well, it won't matter because JP Morgan won't prosecute themselves. But basically, they won't be able to do it with Basel III. They have to have some physical gold. But to allow this leverage of 96% leverage, who the hell is thinking of that? See, it's just, we don't have gold. We're trying to keep the price down. We don't want, if it's really worth a lot, we can't cover it. So we're going to do this bullshit Ponzi scheme of keeping the price down by printing derivatives of gold. And what should be 20,000 is 2,300. And that's what is going out between the petrodollar and BRICS. Comex should exit. And then we'll get a physical price. And then you'll see a $60,000 gold price because of Mano's 60,000. And the other card I showed you of Mano is 72,000. How the hell is Mano worth 1672 and gold worth 2,300? Does that make any sense to anybody in the normal world that we live in? Absolutely not. So that's what you got to understand. So that's what I'm trying to do. eBay is the real physical market, but gold is not on eBay. Not really. It's on eBay with the paper price, not just a regular, I'm selling you an ounce of gold. What will you give me? Oh, well, I see on Comex it's 2,300. Well, that's not the real price. And that's what I'm asking. How do you get the real price? Because it's diluted with the paper price. And that's really what I'm trying to find. Anyway, so that's my eBay story. eBay is a free market and a real price, and gold is not there, but that's how you sell gold. So when people ask me and say it's not liquid, sure as hell liquid. You're going to tell me the Mantle card's not liquid, or Willie Mays card, any baseball cards or Rolexes you sell on eBay. It's liquid. That's what it is. It's a liquid market. Now I can go back to my coin store and take my coin, and he'll pay me for it. He'll pay me the spot, which is the bullshit. See, that's why I sing and dance when I leave the gold store, because it's a bullshit price, and I know it's a bullshit price. So I know that the real price of this physical gold is 10 times higher. Not even close. The purchasing power is probably more than 10 times. But let's say it's 23,000 for an ounce of gold. If you didn't have all the derivative, what do I call it? The laundry of the 96%, the inflation price. So they're adding pieces to the gold. They're saying, oh, there's 50,000 ounces when there's not. There's only 2,000. So that needs to end, and hopefully it will. And I would imagine the BRICS are anxious to get $20,000 gold, not 2. Again, why the U.S. has it, I have no idea. But since the U.S. doesn't have any gold, they want to keep the price low. But it's all backfiring because all the BRICS people are buying the gold. And that's what happens. All right. So that's why I get all excited when I buy gold, because I know that $2,300 an ounce is a bullshit price. It's not even close to reality, because you got all this leveraged paper knocking the price down, and it shouldn't, right? So I showed you the Montanas earlier, and there was 10 of them. They're all like $110. And that's the price is pretty consistent. When you look at the derivative price, it's up and down. it's a derivative price. So they're selling at 23.20 or 23.30 and buying it at 22.95. And really what they're trying to do is get out of options that they're in at 22.95 or 22.90. So they're pushing the price down so they can get out of their options. Well, what the fuck? That's not a free market price. Free market, you'll never, that was my point. You'll never see that Mantle card at 60,000. You'll never see it at 30,000. You'll never see it at 40,000. He's 60,000. Maybe he's a little high. Maybe he goes down to 55, wherever the last one was sold at. But it's so rare to see a PSA 9 Mantle 1965. That price isn't going down. It's only going to go up. And it'll get priced in gold. So that's the beauty of it. Because it's an asset, the price goes from $60,000 to zero, and then the gold price goes up to whatever $60,000 worth of gold is. Maybe it's a quarter ounce, maybe a half ounce. And that's how the gold's going to get factored in. So it's the purchasing power gold, because you won't be able to price it because there won't be dollars to price it in. So now you start pricing it in gold. Really, what does the gold buy? Oh, a car, a Mantle card, Michael Jordan card. And that's how gold it's what it purchased. And that's where you go. All right. On my own, I'm doing the Sun Belt, but let's do the SEC. So we're analyzing the SEC. I've done a few other conferences. I probably did the SEC already, but let's do it again. So new head coaches, we got Kalen DeBoer from Washington at Alabama. We've got a bunch of offensive and defensive coordinators. So the key one I see is Will Muschamp is out at Georgia, and Travaris Robinson and Travaris Robinson, whoever he is kind of the new defensive coordinator. So I'm looking for Georgia to put more pressure on like they used to. So you got to be careful when they lose defensive coordinators and the defense changes. Look at the 49ers. They fired their coach because they lost the Super Bowl because their defensive coordinators sucked. He wouldn't blitz Mahomes. Same thing with Georgia. They wouldn't blitz Milrose, so they let their defensive coordinator go. I think they were right. LSU, Old Mississippi State, new head coach Jeff Levy, and he's also the offensive coordinator. Oklahoma, new coordinators. Ole Miss, new coordinators. Texas defense. A&M, new head coach Mike Elo, who was the head coach at Duke, who used to be the defensive coordinator at A&M with Jimbo Fisher. He was great at Florida State, maybe. I don't even sure. And then that's it. And then he's done, and then that's it. So you've got a bunch of different offensive and defensive coordinators. So that's what I'm reading now as I look at Alabama, new coach Kalen DeBoer brings an offensive system that was among college football's most productive at Washington. Well, that we know. Okay, so promising five-star sophomore Justice Haynes should anchor the backfield. Okay, we don't care. Nick Saban's defense was among the best because it was the Steelers. Now Levin must turn the page and a new defensive head coach to rejoin DeBoer. All right, so we looked at the quarterback. We know Milrose. Okay. They got 6 back on offense, 5 back on defense. And then we looked at their schedule. They open with Western Kentucky, South Florida, at Wisconsin. Then they get the big one, Georgia, and then at Tennessee and Missouri and at LSU and at Oklahoma. And they finish with Auburn. So they get their hands full, which we know. Milrose should be better because Penix had struggled at Indiana and he comes to Washington and now he's a superstar. So DeBoer knows how to coach. Give him credit for that. So we'll see how he gets Middle Tennessee. No, he gets Western Kentucky, who's not bad. And then South Florida, they should kill. At Wisconsin, with Tyler Van Dyke and their defense, we'll see. I think the only problem Alabama is really going to have is Georgia and LSU. LSU will have a good team. At Oklahoma, I don't know. Oklahoma doesn't look that good. Then we go to Arkansas. Sam Pittman is 23 and 25, 4 years at Arkansas. Quarterback is Talon Green because Bobby's favorite, KJ Jefferson, moved on to UCF. So Arkansas with a new quarterback, but he is a transfer from headline by quarterback Taylor. It's not saying where he's from. On my other sheet, I'm putting more diagnosis into Arkansas. Over team, under team, what are they? And we'll get to that when I go into my spreadsheet. But I'm just in the middle right now. I got a few more conferences to put in. They got 5-back offense for, so they're going to take time to bring in the new. Bobby Petrino is the offensive coordinator, and he is known to be a very good offensive coordinator. So look for Arkansas to be probably a little bit more over. They open with Arkansas Pine Bluff, which we'll see a little, and then they get an interesting game at Oak State with Ollie Gordon. Oak State is very strong this year. So I've done the pack. I've done the Big 10 and the Big 12. So he's fantastic. He had 1,700 yards, and the quarterback Bowman is back, and we know they got a good coach. The defense is better. So this is a huge game for Arkansas against Oak State. They got A&M, who's going to be good in the Jerry Dome. Tennessee and LSU are very good. Ole Miss and Texas, and then at Missouri, they got a lot of good big games coming up. So keep your eye on them. They lost KJ Jefferson. He's at UCF, and now how good is this Talon Green? And that's really what you gotta see. 4 back end defense. So Petrino, they should score a lot. If we look at last year, their defense sucked. They go up 48 to Missouri, 48 to Auburn, 36 to Florida, 34 to A&M, 34 to LSU, 38 to BYU, and they didn't play my Georgia team. So this defense sucked, and with Bobby Petrino, the defense isn't getting any better. So probably an over team. Oak State will probably lay a whoop ass on them. A can of whoop ass. Auburn, they get Peyton Thorne from MSU back for another year. They got Hugh Freeze in the second year. He was, I think, the Auburn coach when they lost the title to my Florida State team. Look at their schedule. They open up with Alabama A&M. What the fuck is that? Then they got Cal. They should kill. New Mexico's terrible. Arkansas could beat. And then they get Oklahoma, Georgia, Missouri, and at Kentucky. Well, now we'll separate the men from the boys. Thorne's a decent quarterback, 6-back on offense, but with this NIL, they're not counting them. So you bring in 5 guys for your offensive line, it doesn't get caught here. Like they got 3 receivers, a freshman and 2 seniors, and I guarantee you, and the backups are a junior, senior, and freshman. I guarantee of the 6, that 3 or 4 of them are NILs. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's good because the NIL doesn't mean shit because it's somebody who's not very good. Look at Ollie Gordon at Oak State. He didn't go NIL. He's the best running back in the country, 1,700 yards last year, and he'll go over 2,000 this year. He's the best back. So what are you doing? So the guy who was third string probably transferred. So you're picking up Oklahoma State's third stringer. Was he really that good? I mean, that's the problem with NIL. You're not getting the stars. And when Miami gets Cam Ward from Washington State as the quarterback. He's no Joe Montana. And Uglia Buglia, I guarantee you, is not good at Florida State. That's going to be big trouble. And I don't understand it. You saw him at Clemson with all that talent, and he sucked, literally sucked. They had to be replaced by the freshman. Then he goes to Oregon State. I don't see any better. So what are you thinking of Florida State? Well, we'll run him. He's athletic. Come on. You can't get a better quarterback than that. That's what I don't. You're telling me Mike Norvell can't recruit a quarterback? Come on. Somehow they got the kid there last year. All right. Florida. Are they going to be better? Graham Mertz came from Wisconsin last year. Now he's a senior. Not bad stat-wise. They get 8 back on offense, 6 back on defense. Billy Napier from Batman is 11 and 14, 2 years. From Lou Lafayette was very good there. Don't know who these coordinators are. Final and F. Napier has an 11 and 14 record of Florida, the worst 2-year start at school since Charlie Pell. I remember Charlie Pell, 79 and 80. 3 consecutive losing seasons would be a first since the 40s. Is it possible, although better talent, depth, and experience might be enough to overcome a schedule featuring 6 teams among the top 17? Well, you've got the quarterback. Do you have the defense? They did not have a good defense. They gave up 52 to LSU, 33 to Old Missouri, 39 to Arkansas in overtime, 43 to my Georgia team, 39 to South Carolina, 33 to Kentucky. There is no defense. This used to be a good defensive thing, but Billy Napier is not a defensive guy. So this should be an over team. Being a senior quarterback, they should light it up, and with no defense. They open with Miami. I think they can win that as a home dog. You got A&M's going to be tough. UCF, who has Jefferson, we don't know. At Tennessee is going to be tough. They're breaking in a new quarterback. Then they're at home to my Georgia team, and then they get at Texas, and then LSU, and then Florida State. So Florida's is in a heap of trouble with Georgia, Texas, LSU, Florida State. And before that, you had Tennessee and Kentucky, who aren't bad, good coached. So good luck for Florida. They get their hands full, but they probably are an over team because their defense wasn't that good. But Graham Mertz coming back should make it an over team. My Georgia team, what can I say? Number one, they'd win. They'd probably go like 13 and 4 in the NFL without breaking a sweat. Carson back as a senior, back as quarterback. They got 9 guys back offense, 6 on defense. They got rid of the defensive coordinator. Glenn Schumann's the new one. I don't know. Mike Bobo is a good offensive coordinator. That I know. I remember that name. Can't remember from where. Kirby Smart, record at the school is 94 and 16. Enough said. So you got 9 back, 6 back, and you got the quarterback. There's really not a lot to say. Etnine, a junior running back. Roderick Robinson's a sophomore. Good receivers. 4 of the 5 offensive linemen are back. They're loaded. Don't fuck with Georgia. You either bet the game's under or you take Georgia. You don't fuck with them. You never go over and you never take the other team. So they open with Clemson, laying 13.5, over under 50, I think. Let's see what the over under is. Over under 48. So the appropriate bet is either Georgia minus 7.5 or go under 54. I highly doubt Clemson scores in the game. They just don't have the offense. So we're looking at that. Then they get Tennessee Tech. I don't understand. Then at Kentucky. And then September 28th at Alabama. So they open with Clemson, and then they got Alabama, and then Auburn. And you go to Texas on the 19th. Then they get the Florida game, the biggest outdoor party. And then they got a home against Tennessee, and they close at home against Georgia Tech. So their hands are full with Alabama on the 28th and Texas on the 19th. That's it. Home against Tennessee and Georgia Tech. If they're interested, they'll blow them out. So we will see. Alabama, though, doesn't have the defense, has the offense, but Alabama's offense was pretty good. So I don't see Georgia really struggling with that. And Georgia has revenge on their mind. And it is not one team you want to fuck with the revenge on. Some teams I tell you, well, it doesn't matter. Michigan State lost to Iowa or lost to Michigan. Yeah, there's no revenge there. They're not good enough to do the revenge, or Indiana and Purdue. But when you get Georgia with revenge, lost to Alabama, cost them a national title. How many points do you think Alabama's going to score? Georgia's going to dominate that game. So, look, that's the game you got circled at Alabama, and they might even be a dog. If Alabama starts pretty strong, they don't like to make Alabama a home dog. Not happen often. So we could actually have Alabama a 2-point favorite over Georgia, and we mortgage the house, the gold, the cars, and we put it Georgia +8. And that's the fly to Vegas game. Fly to Vegas to make the bet so you can cash in right after the game. Oh, I love that. So look out, Georgia, number 1. Not much of a weakness. Brock Bowers was out. And a little bit, 4 or 5 games last year. So the guy got experience. Etienne is the running back. He's a junior. The other Etienne's the guy on Florida's brother on Clemson, or it was on Clemson. All right, Kentucky. Now here's what do we do? Kentucky added weapons on both sides of the ball via the portal. Now that's misleading. Is that good or bad? They had to go to the portal, but are these guys any good? This season could come down to the trenches. The offensive line struggled in 23. Aside from Walker, how good can this defensive line be? If Vandegrift gets adequate protection, lives up to his billing, the Wildcats can win 8 or more games. If he struggles with the challenging schedule, the Wildcats will blow. Who's Vandegrift? So Vandegrift's a junior. So he hired this guy, Bush Handem, from Boise to be the offensive coordinator. And I don't know, Boise wasn't much of an offense. Now here's 5-star prospect and Georgia transfer. Okay, so this guy's a Georgia transfer and a 5-star, but he couldn't beat out Carson Beck. So how good is he? And I'll give you the same scenario as Stenson Benson. And you had Fields. And Fields was on Georgia, and Benson beat him out, and then he transferred to Ohio State. So that's kind of what you have here is this guy got beat out. So he's not as good as Beck. So we will see what they've got. I don't go much for these 4 stars, 5 stars. Again, they're against high school teams, so it really doesn't mean much. So we will see what kind of – he hasn't played the quarterback, so we'll see. 9 back on defense. They had a pretty good defense, except for giving up. They lost to Georgia 51-13. Missouri put a 38 on them in Tennessee, and that's in Alabama 49, and Clemson at 38, and Louisville 31. Yeah, I guess their defense isn't as strong. So let's look at their schedule. They open with Southern Miss. They should kill them. South Carolina should kill, and then they get Georgia at home week 3. Then it's Ohio, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, at Florida, Auburn, and then at Tennessee, at Texas, and at Louisville. So they got a pretty tough schedule. I mean, they're not, they might get key for Georgia, but look out. So we'll have to get a little bit, again, with the new quarterback who's supposedly a 5-star, but I argue that. What's a 5-star? Oh, against high school players, you look good. Oh, yeah, okay. LSU, Bobby's team. Kieran Neusmeyer is the new quarterback. He's not bad, but Daniels was better. So you're not exactly walking in with the guy who's never doesn't know what end of the football to throw. In year 3 of Kelly's tenure, it's time for the Tigers to take a step forward. That means securing a spot in the expanded college football playoff. Getting there depends on 2 key things: finding enough of a ground game to pair with what should be a potent passing game, and improving the defense enough to be at least average. Answer those 2, and the Tigers are top 10 for sure. So we know they got a quarterback, 6th on offense and defense. Let's look at the schedule. They open with USC. This game will be 100. So what you're telling me in the description is good offense, weak defense, or average defense against USC, which we know anybody could quarterback USC and put up 50 points because it's a system. So a big over against USC. Then they got Nicholls State, South Carolina, UCLA, who's got a whole new coaching. We don't know what to expect there. South Alabama, Ole Miss, and then at Arkansas, we went over. At A&M will be, so here's where it gets tough. At A&M, Alabama, at Florida, and they end up with Oklahoma, who's, I'm not sure how good they're going to be this year. They avoid Georgia, but then for some strange reason, they open against USC. You're in the SEC. You're going to play Alabama, Florida, Oklahoma, A&M, and you want to add USC to your schedule. Okay, now USC is not that good, just a big offense. So the only way to not try to pick the winner, but just go over on the game. So we will see. But Neusmeyer has quartered before. He's not bad. Old Mississippi State. Blake Shapen from Baylor is the quarterback. He's a senior, but he's never played for Mississippi State. Jeff Lebby is a new coach, and he's the offensive mastermind. Where's he from? I don't know. It doesn't say where he's from. Mississippi State is the new look team, pretty much across the board. The Bulldogs also face a daunting schedule that includes road trips to Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss. Given all that, if MSU can simply return to bowl eligibility after missing out on the postseason, Levy's first season in Starkville would have to be viewed. Now, they had Mike Leach, and they didn't do shit, all passing. So I don't know if he's a Mike Leach guy or not. I don't know what kind of defense they'll have. They gave up 51 to A&M and 40 to Alabama and 37 to South Carolina last year, 41 to LSU. They don't have much of a, I guess, a good offense. They'll light them up. They got nobody back on offense. This is insane. Blake Shapen's a Baylor quarterback. Outside of that, I have no idea. And 2 back ends. So they went to the portal because they got the new coach. He brought all his players, like Prime. Prime brought all his guys. Let's look at their schedule. They open with Eastern Kentucky, which is nothing, and that's good for the quarterback. And then Arizona State, who stinks, and then Toledo, who's pretty good. Florida, we're not sure. Then the fun starts. September 28th, we go to Texas. The next week, we go to Georgia. Then A&M comes in. And then November 9th, we at Tennessee. And then we've got Old Missouri, who's very good this year, a playoff team, and then at Ole Miss. So big problems start September 28th. Even the 21st, they get Florida. But they should win their first few games. But, that's what you got to watch. That's why we look at the schedule. Because if they play nobody, don't get too excited on them until the big boys come. Old Missouri, Brady Cook, outstanding quarterback, top 5 draft pick. They lost their running back, who was great, Cody Schrader. I got to find out what team he got. He took them. So they got 7 back on offense, 5. They got a great coach. Eli Drinkwitz, very good coach, even though it's got a funny name. He's 28-21 in 4 years in the SEC. To show you how good he is, the Georgia game, they lost 30-21. I was under 53 in the game, so they made me sweat, but I still won the under. But now after and I didn't really understand him. Now I know Brady Cook, how good he is. We'll be taking Missouri a lot and getting good points on him. So their offensive coordinator is Kirby Moore. Defense, who knows? I could read you a name that nobody knows. So they did lose a key running back. So we look at the schedule. They open with Murray State, which for Brady Cook, he doesn't need anything, right? Then they go to Buffalo against the Bills. And then Boston College, they'll kill. Vanderbilt, they'll kill. And then they go to A&M, tough game. UMass, they'll kill. Auburn, at home, they'll beat. Then they got at Alabama. And then home to Oklahoma, who's not that good. South Carolina, at Mississippi State, and Arkansas. So really, they only have the at Alabama, the at A&M, and maybe Auburn, and then Oklahoma. So they only have a few games. Look for Missouri in the playoffs. They should be a very strong team this year. So keep your eye on them. And they'll be very underrated, like against BC, and then at A&M, we could be getting 10 points at A&M. That's a lock. All right, Oklahoma. Well, let's read the analysis. This is a veteran team. The Tigers will need to find depth answers on defense, and like last year, eke out a few tight wins. But the schedule is as friendly as it will ever be, and you have to like your odds. And when you have Luther Burden III, and your opponent does not. Luther Burden is a wide receiver. So to go with Brady Cook and Luther Burden, we're looking at an over team. We're not sure about their defense, but they are a very good team. Oklahoma, the Sooners once owned the Big 12, but they slumped in their closing 3 seasons, failing to even make the championship game at a time when the league has been down. Stunningly, OU hasn't produced a first-team All-American since 2019. That highly represents positive momentum for a shift in the country's dominant conference. Oklahoma is not that good. The quarterback, Jackson Arnold, he did nothing last year. He's kind of a running type. He's like Jalen. He's more like Kyler Murray, but he can't throw. They got 6 back on defense. Brett Venables is 16-10 in 2 years. Not very good. Offensive coordinator, So you lose Dylan Gabriel, and you've got this Jackson Arnold. That's a big loss. You did not replace him. I don't know. I'm not sold. I don't smell what he's cooking, Brett Venables. From Clemson, but he was the defensive coordinator there. It's not like he was a head coach there, and he was 34-3, and now he's at Oklahoma. This is a guy who's never been a head coach and doesn't. He had a terrible 2 years ago, and then he came on last year, got the revenge in the Texas game. So I don't think he's that good. I think he's like Jimbo Fisher, just there for the paycheck. Let's look at their schedule. Temple, they should win. Houston, Willie Fritz might give them troubles. Then Tulane, then they're Tennessee, at Auburn, and then Texas. South Carolina sucks. At Ole Miss, could be trouble. At Missouri is going to be trouble. And then they got Alabama and at LSU. Their closing's a nightmare. Missouri, Alabama, LSU. You throw in the Texas game, and they still got Tennessee and Tennessee and Auburn. Now, Houston has Willie Fritz, but it's the second game. I think they should be able to handle him. But don't sell Willie Fritz short, the Houston coach. I think by middle of the year, they'll be a very strong team. You don't want to fuck with them. They'll be a good dog to bet to take the upsets. So, tough schedule, as the rest of the SEC is. I just don't see enough on offense. A lot of seniors, so a lot of NILs, I assume. Oh, it says potential spam. I don't want to answer it. I don't know. 224 number. Oklahoma. We will see. I'm not sold on their coach, and I'm certainly not sold on this quarterback. All right, Ole Miss. Ole Miss. The majority of Ole Miss key contributors from last season decided to give it one more go in an attempt to reach an expanded playoff field. The Rebels added impact players through the transfer portal at every level. Ole Miss coming off its first 11-win season ever. Yeah, but now they're playing 13 or 14 games. I hate when they do that. Expectations are as high as they've ever been in Oxford. This team is talented, well coached, and battle tested. The Rebels, at least on paper, have, I don't know about that. Jackson Dart's the quarterback. He's pretty good. Ulysses Bentley sounds like a Greek god is their running back. They got 8 back on offense, 6 on defense. I'm worried by the transfer portals. They've got a mesh, and you just assume that they got the guys in the transfer portal. Well, if they were very good, they wouldn't be in the transfer portal, unless you steal guys from the MAC and the Sun Belt who are very good at those schools, and then they move up. Those are the only guys that I think, oh, this guy played for Bowling Green and he's really good. Okay, maybe those type I can live with. Jackson Dart, good quarterback. We all know the coach, Lane Kiffin. Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator. Good luck with that. But I'm sure Kiffin does the offensive calls. All right, let's look. They open against Furman. Really? Middle Tennessee, who's not too good. At Wake, who's not too good. Georgia Southern. So the first 4 games aren't going to show you anything. They'll probably blow out Middle Tennessee and Georgia Southern. Then they go to Kentucky. They're at home against Kentucky. Could win at South Carolina. So the first 6 games are very weak. Then we've got at LSU, a home to Oklahoma, Arkansas, and then Georgia, Florida, and Old Mississippi State in the rivalry game. So they got LSU, Oklahoma, and Georgia and Florida, although Florida's not great. So they've probably got LSU, Georgia as the big game. Old Mississippi State's the rivalry game, but they're much better. So we will see Jackson Dart, what's going on. They're okay. They're an offensive team. I don't think their defense is that good. They gave up 49 to LSU, 35 to A&M, 52 to Georgia. See, this is where you get into with the Georgia and you think, oh, this defense. And then they give up 52 points because they got 3 pick sixes and they forced all these turnovers and they power you. Georgia's good because they power run you in very good offense. Dink it here, dink it there, hit the tight end, get 7 yards, then run it down your throat and soften you up. You really can't put pressure on them because they run it down your throat. And that's what happened. Then the next thing you know, they're up by 40 points. Gotta love Georgia. All right, South Carolina, Lenora Sellers, a freshman. Yeah, they probably won't win any games. Okay, when a Lenora Sellers is a freshman as your quarterback, you got big problems. Let's see. But with no Rattler, quarterback will fall to redshirt freshman Lenora Sellers, a dynamic athlete who flashed last year, but will have to learn on the job. So he's a dynamic athlete. In other words, to translate, he's fast. He's a good runner. He doesn't know how to quarterback. If he's a quarterback, they'd say he's a good quarterback. When he's a good athlete, means he's not a good quarterback. Final analysis, Beamer charms Columbia with 2 strong seasons at start his tender. Shane Beamer, I don't know who this is. But last year was a severe setback. Now he has a new quarterback and a murderous schedule, make a bowl game, and that's it. Another losing season. This will be another losing season. You got to be kidding. You don't have a quarterback, you're dead against Georgia and Alabama and Texas and half these teams. You need a quarterback. They got 4 back, including Lenora's Sellers, and 7 back on defense, but they weren't that great of a defensive team. So their schedule, Old Dominion at Kentucky. Then they get LSU, Akron, Old Miss, going to be problems, at Alabama, at Oklahoma, A&M, at Vandy, who's really not too bad. They got my Diego Pavia, my New Mexico State quarterback there. They got Missouri at Clemson, which is a rivalry game, and for some reason Wolford's there. So we'll give them the win over Wolford, and Akron. That's it. Maybe they beat Vanderbilt. So they're going to have maybe 3 wins. I don't know if they can beat Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's pretty good. They could beat Navy. All right. Tennessee. New quarterback, Leva, freshman. So you got problems. He's a former 5-star, is taking the reins. We love Josh Heupel, and he's like Sonny Dykes at TCU, explosive offense. He's a redshirt freshman, flashed in 4 games and performed well in the Citrus Bowl, which we don't care because Iowa didn't play anybody. See, and it says here, with a frustrating season Joe Milton had, and Joe Milton got drafted and Hartman didn't. Joe Milton sucked and had a bad season. And Hartman, had a bad coach at Notre Dame. Let's see, their analysis. Tennessee's historic 2022 offense dip. See, that's how good, and that's why I say about Hooker, is there was a historic offense. They put up 50 on Alabama, and the Lions don't want to give them a chance. Big mistake. There's reason to believe that it will snap back into elite form. Well, what reason is that? I am Leva running the show. The defensive line has star power. The secondary and offensive skill positions will dictate the ceiling, as Tennessee is the pieces to compete for a playoff. So keep that analysis. How good is this guy? And analyzing it. And we will see. They open with Chattanooga. Then they got NC State. Not a bad team. Kent State they'll kill. Then we get some fun at Oklahoma, at Arkansas, Florida, Alabama, Kentucky, and and at Georgia. So look out for that. Big game with Alabama. It always is the 3rd Saturday in October. Florida and Kentucky will be, they're all about the same. So it's how good is this quarterback? We'll have to watch the box scores. We won't learn anything in week 1 against Chattanooga. We will learn against NC State. We will learn the quarterback because they got a good defense. So again, they got 5 back on offense, 3 on defense. Great coach, offensive coach, should be an over team. It sounds like they're loaded. All right, Texas. Quinn Ewers, junior quarterback, very good. They don't have the running back. Jaden Blue was a junior, wasn't there. Steve Sarkisian, 25-14 in 3 years. We've got the final analysis. If Texas offense has reloaded successfully with portal pass catchers, and if Texas offense has reloaded, big if, with receivers. Well, that's probably the easiest position. And if the defense can develop a solid rotation of interior linemen, Longhorns should have a chance to contend in year 1 in the SEC with the goal of reaching the 12-man playoff. Playing at Michigan on September 7th will be an early barometer. Ooh. So they don't care how hard the SEC schedule. We're gonna play Michigan. It's like LSU playing USC. Like, what the fuck are you doing? So they open at home against Colorado State, and then they go to Michigan. And I give them a chance against Michigan. Michigan with a new coach, new quarterback, new defensive coordinator. Should be an interesting new running back. So this Michigan's not the greatest team on earth anyway. they got UTSA without Frank Harris and Louisiana Monroe, 2 easy wins. Mississippi State, easy. Then they get the big game against Oklahoma, which revenge game for them. They lost to Oklahoma last year, I believe. Yeah, they lost 34-30. And after that, you've got to be kidding. So here you play your biggest rivalry in Oklahoma, and then you get Georgia. Holy shit. So you got Michigan, the Oklahoma rivalry, Georgia, then Vanderbilt, Florida, they should handle Arkansas, Kentucky, and then at A&M could give them problems. So pretty tough in the middle there, Oklahoma, Georgia, Florida, A&M, and then you open your second game is at Michigan. Now Texas plays in these big games, so it's not going to be a big deal to play at Michigan. Quinn Ewers, good quarterback. We will see. I mean, they have talent. They've got the coach back. Their defense was pretty good last year. They gave up 37 to Washington. Who doesn't? They gave up 30 to Kansas State. Who doesn't? 34 to Oklahoma. And otherwise, it was a pretty good defense. Alabama, they did beat 34-24 week 2. So you went to Alabama and won. So going to Michigan is not going to be a problem. I'll take them as a live dog. Give me 7, and I'll take 13 in Texas all day. Probably an under game. Michigan's going to keep running. They don't have their quarterback. And in this game, Texas's defense isn't going to let that orgy guy run around. He's more of a runner, not a thrower. So if you're going to run against Texas, you're not going to do shit. And this is good because this would have been a playoff. Well, the playoff game should have been they escaped Georgia and Oregon, which pissed me off. All right, Texas A&M, Connor Wegman is back. He quartered last year when the guy got hurt. 6 guys back on offense, 4 on defense. Injuries forced A&M to change quarterbacks 7 times over the past 2 seasons. So it should be good. The analysis, A&M has managed just 12 victories the past 2 seasons. Now they got a new coach, Elko, who was the Duke coach, who used to be their defensive coordinator, along with the scheme of new offensive coordinator, Colin Klein, who's from Kansas State. So I like that. Raises optimism for improvement. A&M caught a scheduling break with Notre Dame, LSU, and Texas all coming to Kyle Field. In the best case scenario, the Aggies could emerge as championship contenders. A 9-win season is more realistic goal at 8-4. Their coach, so Elo is a coach. He was 16-9 in 2 years at Duke. Colin Klein again from Kansas State's very good. That's their schedule. Now they're pulling a USC and a Texas. They open with Notre Dame. Are they out of their minds? Open with Notre Dame. Week 3, you're at Florida. Week 5, you're home. Well, you're playing Arkansas at the Jerry World. Then you got Missouri, who's really tough. Mississippi State. Then you got LSU. And then you got a breather with South Carolina, New Mexico State. And then you finish at Auburn and then Texas. So you got Notre Dame, at Florida, Arkansas, Old Missouri, LSU, and Texas. So you're getting a big in conference. You got LSU. You avoid Alabama and you avoid Georgia. So you got Notre Dame and Texas. So kind of a break. We'll see. I like the coach. The offensive coordinator is good, but it's probably going to take him time. So this will be very interesting. They're 1.5 point favorites over Notre Dame. And I think it's an under that week 1. That's an under Notre Dame. The line is A&M 1.5 over under 49. I like under 55. Notre Dame with a very strong defense. A&M will have a strong defense. Yeah, that's the only way to play it. And last but not least, old Vanderbilt. They got my guy, Pava, as their quarterback from New Mexico State. He lit it up for New Mexico State. Final analysis, Lee made necessary changes by ousting much of the coaching staff. So they've had coaching problems, overhauling schemes on both sides of the ball and bringing in experience from the transfer portal, which, again, how good are they? Those decisions should position Vanderbilt better than in 2023, but a more difficult schedule means the bowl eligibility will be a stretch. Good quarterback, a lot of transfers. Well, they're going with New Mexico State's Tim Beck to revamp the offense. So that's why Diego Pavia is here. So you bring in the offensive coordinator from New Mexico State and their quarterback. So this will be interesting. All right, they open with Virginia Tech, doable. Elkhorn State, Georgia State sucks. Then at Missouri, and then you get a little Alabama, and then you go to Kentucky and Ball State. Then you got Texas and Auburn, South Carolina, and then at LSU and Tennessee. This is fucking murder. Tennessee is their rivalry game. So good luck there. Good quarterback, no doubt. You're running the New Mexico State offense. I don't know about that. So that is your SEC. I hope it's not too boring, but I'm trying to get through what do we have, right? We know Georgia's the best team. They could beat half the pros. We know that. They got all that talent. We then go to Texas and Michigan and A&M and Notre Dame. And those are setup games. So you're looking at those games to see if the guys are any good. And all you can do is you kind of read and go, yeah, they look okay. Can they be the dog? And can you play A&M as well? They're favored to Notre Dame. Texas will be the dog to Michigan. Are they live dog? Can we bet on Texas against Michigan? Which I believe we can. As long as you have Quinn Ewers, the key is the defense and the key is the quarterback. I have all the last year's statistics, so when I put that in. Michigan is a 10 defense last year, but a new defensive coordinator, a new head coach. So are they going to be a 10? We'll see how they do against Fresno State and Mikey Keene. And Fresno's got a really good coach also, so this will be very interesting. Is Texas playing? Yeah, Texas had a 17 defense. So we'll see. I mean, pretty even with Michigan's 10 defense. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, so did a double show today, a double class. But I wanted to get baseball in because it all started at noon. But then I wanted to follow it up with this whole Comex not being a market price, and to explain what a market price is, which was the eBay. eBay is the market. So when somebody tells me gold is not liquid, I don't understand. You could easily sell it at the jewelry store, coin store you bought it at, or you could easily sell it on eBay. So everything's like, you have a Rolex. Is it illiquid? Probably not on eBay or to the jewelry store. You might not get what you want at the jewelry store because they're a jewelry store, but you can certainly go in and sell it, because when you think about it, they'll buy it because they sell it. So I can go in with this quarter ounce of gold, sell it to him. He'll give me its spot because he's going to mark it up. So he's going to give me this at spot because he knows he can sell it. So he'll buy it because he can sell it. They only won't buy things they can't sell. Gold is very liquid. You can sell it. All right, let's see what the gold price is. I am so tired right now. Good God. All right, gold ended at $22.99. Big late. And it's this one derivative. See, this is what you don't get on eBay. if the price of gold's 23.18 in the real market, it's not going to 22.96. Right? The Mantle card I show you for 60 grand is not going to 50 grand. It's 60 grand. Right? The Montana rookies at 125 is not going to 80 or 90. It's staying at 125. Maybe it goes to 120 because he's having trouble selling it. But I guarantee you that 100,000, 120 price for the Montana doesn't go down, doesn't go to 75. There's no option down to 75, and then it goes back to 125. They don't play games. This is purely games. This is not possible. Gold going from 22.16 down to 22.96, dropping $20. That's impossible. And you can see the way it is. It's just a straight line down going to the next level. Well, what is that? That's not free market. That's bullshit. That's derivative. And so, again, it's just waiting for it. But you got to realize the gold is worth much more than these derivative bullshits. And pretty soon they're going to run out of needing gold to make the options. And that's ending very soon with all the people in BRICS buying the gold. And you have the dollar going down because of the petrodollar going out. We're basically bankrupt. And I'm sure the Romans said the same thing. We're the Romans. How can we be bankrupt? Or the French, or the Spanish, or the English. The French. How can we be bankrupt? Make enough wars, you'll be bankrupt. Anyway, that's what's happening. So I will see tomorrow at 11. Again, baseball. We've won the Philly game today. Actually, let's see. Did we push on the Atlanta under 8 game? It was at 8, so it's a push if it's 8. It was 8, 6-2. So that's a push. We played under 8. It landed at 8, so it's a push. I put P for push. Washington over 7.5. Did we get there yet? Yes, Washington's the winner. Washington over 7.5. San Diego is winning 8-2, so that's a 10. Over 7.5, another winner. So we don't lose the Atlanta. We push. We win Philly. We win Washington, and the Houston game is over 8.5. Was 8. Not too bad. Pretty decent call. And now we got Baltimore, Boston over, the Yankees. Those are the 3 picks, and they're all 3 units. Yankees at 7:10, Boston starts at 7:10, and Baltimore starts at 6:35. I don't know why they stagger the starts. It just seems idiotic. Anyway, so I'll be doing my college football tonight. And so now I've got the teams. Is a quarterback new or returning, or is it a transfer? Here's your totals: 51 on UTSA, and your line and your total. Then I have your defensive number. Now, Kennesaw State, we don't know because they didn't play Division I last year, so we just ignore it. But let's look at like UNLV and Houston. UNLV gave up 27, Houston 31. Houston, new coach, should do better. Returning quarterback who kind of sucked. Vegas with the new one, and I got him as an over team. And then so now I'll start looking at putting in like here South Sam Houston's an under team. They barely could score. Troy, Notre Dame coach, weak coach. So I start filling in things that will help us figure out who to bet on. Because we don't have it's a new year, but I don't want to not play week 1 and 2 and 3 waiting for figures. So we know what to do pretty much with the Alabama, that Texas Michigan game week 2, the Notre Dame A&M game week 1. So we have an idea. We got Notre Dame and we got LSU and USC over. We've got West Virginia, Penn State's going to be an over. And, there was a few others that we kind of have an idea of what we can do with them. So that's where we're at with them. And so that's what I do now is study and try to, I'm trying to figure out the team. And I kind of read between the bullshit of the writer who I don't trust. Never trust the writers. You got to trust yourself. And that's in most things. And we will see. So, a stoic day for me. It's weird. It's Wednesday. I'm waiting to hear on the job. Nothing. Waiting to hear on my the trust. See if I know I'm getting money. I just hope it's not a little. I don't want to say it like that, but I'm hoping for a nice chunk of change. I can go buy some more gold and go on a vacation and everything. That's what I'm hoping for. This works ridiculous. I keep interviewing. Like, am I saying something wrong? But I had 4 interviews with this company, so they're just extremely slow. I think because of the recession we're in, they're not in a hurry to hire me. They obviously don't need me, because their whole business is slowing down with the recession. But we're in a recession, no question about it, which means the economy is slowing down. Anytime you have inflation and prices going up and interest rates going up, that makes your costs go up, which makes you definitely slowing down, makes the economy slow down. That's the problem with inflation. That's the problem with high interest rates, but they go hand in hand. You got inflation, you have to have higher interest rates. So that's what'll happen. Anyway, so that's about it. Have a good night. We got July 4th, I think next Thursday. God, I can't believe that. Anyway, so yeah, I will probably book a trip. By the end of this week, I think I'll book a trip and just go somewhere. I am wanting to go with Daria, and she seems to want to go, but I can't get an answer. I don't know if she doesn't want to go and she's just bullshitting. Oh, my mother can't make it. I'm still waiting to hear on the mother. Then she says, oh no, wait for me, wait a little bit longer. So I think she wants to go, but she's waiting for the mother to watch the daughter, and then we go. So I told her today we'll get a nice hotel and we'll eat nice and shop nice and we'll have a pool. And she at least gave me some feedback. She was all excited, but don't know. Anyway, so that's where we stand. So that's your baseball, a little bit of football, hockey's over, basketball's over, and that's about it. So we are getting ready for football. We're getting into July and things start heating up. I'm doing my studying a little bit early, but I'm into it. So tonight I'll look into it. Gives me something to do. And that's about it. So enjoy your night. I keep thinking it's Friday night. It's Wednesday night. Jesus Christ. All right. Wednesday night. Enjoy. www.teaserking.com. Remember, gold is totally price fixed, manipulated. So when you ask, when's it going up? That isn't the question. It's the purchasing power of gold will go up. That is not a question. You don't need to ask that. It's the dollar going out, and you see the $60,000 Mantle card, gold's going to be at least that much. But will it be priced in dollars? I don't know that the dollars will be around to price it in dollars. Gold will just have the purchasing power to buy $60,000 things with an ounce of gold. That's my assumption. Well, I'm not still on. I came back. I've been on an hour and a half. The Raiders coach filed. I don't know what that means. Didn't they just sign Aaron Paris? Is this Aaron Paris? Why would he file for bankruptcy? Isn't he making millions of dollars? I guess he's got his money in stocks instead of in gold. See, what's funny is if you put your money in gold, you're not going to do bankruptcy. You'll always have money. But the best part of gold is it's all hidden and secret. Nobody knows you have it. If anything happens, they'll never garnish it from your wages because it's not part of your wages. The Raiders coach filed for bankruptcy. He has his money in stocks. So has the market been crashing? I don't even pay attention. I know it will crash. See, it's like the Titanic. I know it's going to sink, so I don't watch it. I don't. Where's it at? I know it's going to sink, and we're in the lifeboat because we're 5 steps ahead. So I'm in gold because I know the stock market's crashing, the banks are crashing, the housing market's crashing. He has his money in stocks. So what happened? He lost a bunch of money in stocks and went bankrupt. Isn't he getting $8 million, $10 million from the Raiders? Don't know. But that's why you get out of stocks. These aren't my opinions. These are not opinions I'm giving you as far as the stock market crashing and the banks having problems in the housing market. These are not opinions. This is what's going to happen. I'm telling you, this is what happens in the past and what will happen again. And there's nothing they can do. The only thing they can do is to come out with gold-backed currency. That's the only hope they have. And then they have to revalue gold at $20,000. Then you pay off the debt and you're fine. But the U.S. would what? Because they're a global guys, these Zuckerbergs and Bill Gates are global because all these IT companies are all over the world. They don't give a fuck about the U.S. So they have all this money, they think, but they don't realize that the money's worthless. They're holding on to a bunch of monopoly money, not gold. And all of their financial guys will never tell them to go into gold. So they're all fucked. That's too bad. He has his money in stocks. So why did he go bankrupt? Just the stock market crushed or something? Anyway, Bitcoin's not the answer, you Bitcoin people. There's only one answer, and it's very easy, gold and silver. I don't know what's so difficult about owning it. It's nice, it's pretty, it's easy, it's off the radar. Why would you want to be in stocks or that? I think what they're doing in Canada, the people are buying houses because of the inflation there. They don't want to be in gold and silver for some reason, and so they get into buying houses. So these people own 4 or 5 houses, and then they're renting them out, and I guess very expensively, and that's why the housing market in Canada is all fucked up, because these people are buying 4 and 5, which is what we did in 2008, and it'll crash because of the inflation. Everything happens because of the inflation. The only way out, as I told our Canadian friend before I blocked him, was you need to, instead of putting $400,000 down on a $700,000 house, you should put the $400,000 into gold. Well, he didn't listen to me. Now he's going to have trouble where he would have had no trouble in gold. If I had 400 grand, I had a chance to put 400 grand, it would be in gold. If my mom were to leave me 400 grand, and I know she won't, I don't know if she has it, but if she would have put that in the trust, I would take the money and walk to the gold store and abracadabra, turn it all into this. I wouldn't want any of this. I would keep 5 or 10 grand out for credit cards and stuff like that, and the rest is turning a pretty shade of gold. But it's such an obvious thing. But people, I don't really get why you'd give them the easiest thing to do and they won't listen to you. Buy gold. Well, no, I got oil stocks and Amazon and Microsoft, and I got houses and anything but gold. And you're just like, fine. What happened to the Romans again, and the French, and the English, and the Spanish, and you idiots don't want to be in gold because you don't believe what happened to the Romans and the Spanish. Okay, I mean, because this is where I'm buying it from, is the Roman Empire, and if it happened to the Romans, it'll happen to us. I guarantee it. You take all the gold out of your currency and you inflate it, it's the bye-bye blues. And I don't know why it's that hard to comprehend. That's what's going to happen. Anyway, I think that's about it, Greg and John. I'm awful tired. So I did go to the pool after, did some good laps. My knee was bothering me, but it feels a little bit better. And had an omelet, and I got hamburgers I could cook, but I'm so tired. It might be later. And I might have a salad or something for dinner. But in my omelet, I put mushrooms and peppers and bell peppers in it. But I didn't have any meat. So now I got the hamburger to cook, and then I can put that in my omelets, which I love, the hamburger and the omelets. Now, what I'm doing is, normally I get 3 pounds of hamburger and my feet start hurting because it's too much meat, I guess. And my body's getting older and it's not doing its function. So I'm only doing 1.5 pounds. So I'll make 5 hamburgers and then have another 1.5 pounds and make the other 5 hamburgers. And so it's just, I'm only going to have 5 in a couple of days instead of 8 or 9. So what I would do is have 2 here and 2 there. And, within 3 days, I'd eat the 3 pounds. So I'm trying to make this last 3 days and just have 1.5 pounds. So we will take it from there. Anyway, that's about it. We will see. So Jenna loses power. I told her to buy candles. She said she's going to the bar to watch soccer because I think I'm telling her I do football, and I kind of told her I don't like soccer. I'm into American football, but in the Ukraine she can't really watch it. So I'll give her, let her watch. It gives her something to do to watch the soccer, which beats the hell out of watching bombs fly overhead. So we'll see. The Euro Cup is on. What's that? A cup of tea? I don't care about soccer. It's the most boring sport there is. I really don't care. I mean, I got football coming up. I don't really care about soccer. But that's good. She can watch it. And if she gets into it, I think people should get into sports. It's competition. You think who's going to win. You start analyzing. That's why I'm such a good analyst, is because betting football since I was 10, you have to analyze to pick. And when you do that, you then learn how to analyze. And then with my math brain, now it's math and analyzing, and I'm a financial analyst. And that's what happens. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So off to the Sun Belt. I'll put it in. So I got an Excel spreadsheet that I put all my notes in. So when I'm picking the games, I go to the spreadsheet and I go, okay, here's quarterback. What type of team are they? Are they the air raid team or not? The new coach? How's the quarterback? And if they have a star running back or something, like Oklahoma State, I put Ollie Gordon in. And so that's what you kind of got. That's how you do it. So anyway, so have a good evening, everybody. And I am going to have something to eat. It's 6:46. I don't want to eat too late. All right, www.teaserking.com. I might start posting some baseball picks there. They're like $15 a day, $25 for the week. But now that we're getting pretty good, I might start posting, and then but just the 5 and 7 star games. Like now I've got it where these games I'm not interested in. These are 3 units. Like today I had Philadelphia as my 5 unit. And I've been pretty good on baseball the last 2 weeks. I've been winning unit. In other words, if I play 5 games, I'll hit 3 and I'll lose 2. And I'm doing that pretty consistently. Yesterday was a very good day, and today so far, I've hit Philly, pushed Atlanta, lost Houston, hit Washington. So I'm 2-1 today. I hit 2 5 units. I lost 1 5 unit, and I got 3 3 units left. So I should more than likely win if I hit one of the 3 units. So I've been doing that pretty well. So I might start posting. And that's about it. So we got July 4th. Then I'll probably take a vacation somewhere with Jenna. I'd like to go with Daria, but I honestly don't know what to think. I'm staying stoic on it. Like, well, I'll meet Daria when I meet her, but at this point, I'll go meet Jenna then. And see, that's the thing of having 2 girlfriends. Is Daria playing me or not? I don't think she is, but I can go meet Jenna, and Daria's busy with her daughter, and okay, fine. And you just, Daria, when you're ready to meet, let me know. Otherwise, that's fine, and I'll just go see Jenna. I mean, that's the beauty of it. Jenna knows about Daria. Daria doesn't know about Jenna, and I'm not telling her about it. But Jenna seems okay because I talk to her every day, so she knows I like Daria, but she doesn't know what's going on. So I'm waiting to meet her, but that'll be it. NBA draft is on. Who care? I don't know any players. Like I say, I don't care. Okay, Greg and John. All right, I'm out of here. Have a good night, everybody. www.teaserking.com.